Hi, and welcome to Close Up with the Hollywood Reporter, Drama Actresses. I'm Lacey Rose, and I'm joined by Patricia Arquette, Danai Gurira, Christine Baranski, Michelle Williams, Niecy Nash, and Emilia Clarke. Let's dive right into this. Okay, so we're gonna start with an icebreaker.
Uh-oh.
You can do this, I have faith. Complete this sentence. I knew I'd made it in Hollywood when?
At first, somebody told me, you'll know you made it in Hollywood when you become a Halloween costume. And so there was a moment of that, but then...
Wait, were you? Did you become one?
I became a Halloween costume.
Amazing.
But then for my character from Reno 911, and then when I used to always wear a flower in my hair, people started to copy, and there was. But then I was at an event, and I saw America's Diane Carroll. Now, I know her, right? But the fact that she walked up to me and knew me, I said, boy, I might have arrived.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I love it.
So yeah, I was at a gala event, and someone had asked me to like auction something. So we were trying to go through all the stuff, and then I couldn't auction. I was like, oh, I'll just auction a dragon, but you can't do that. So I was like, I'll auction, like, come and watch your favorite episode with me, and we'll eat, horse's heart or something. Anyway, so I have that, and I don't think about what it is until I actually get there, and I'm sitting in the room. And I'm sitting in the room with like every celebrity on the planet going, my God, I thought this would be like a private thing, like they wouldn't say it out loud. So they're saying it, and then I have to stand up, and it turns into the thing. And so the auction comes up, the room goes completely silent, and I'm like, I'm gonna die. I'm actually gonna die. And then one of my friends who was on the table was like, puts his paddle up. And then suddenly some other people start to put their paddles up. And then one of those people was Brad Pitt, so that was fun. And then I went the color I'm going right now, and it was that was a pinch me moment.
Ultimately win.
He didn't ultimately win. I know, my friend ultimately won. Go figure. But I was literally like, you can stop now. You can stop whenever you want.
Friend.
I have to say,
okay.
I was there, and there was a lot of back and forth. It was like, no, yes, no, yeah, no. I mean, it was some serious competition.
It was the most ridiculous, surreal moment of my entire existence. I never called my friends and said anything, and I was like, guys, just want to let you know.
I think I realized I got a phone call after I did True Romance, or someone left a message, and it was Bruce Willis, right? So I called back like, shut up, who is this? I got a message from Bruce Willis. Hi. I'm like, who is this? Shut up. He's like, this is Bruce Willis. Oh, hello. Nice to meet you. So that was very weird and surreal.
You know, I didn't get to Hollywood or accept any jobs in Hollywood doing television, I think, till I was about 41 when I finally made the jump to television. I'd done some things, guest stars and all, but like Hollywood, no, I was just this theater actress for years and years and years. And then I did this sitcom called Sybil and got an Emmy nomination. And I remember arriving almost in time for the ceremony because we were stuck in traffic in that way that you get stuck in traffic on your way to awards. But I remember walking in with my borrowed $500,000 Chanel Camellia diamond necklace, like, holy cow, when you work in the theater, you have to buy your own jewelry and get your own clothes. But I walked in and down, and I was sitting behind David Letterman, and there was Barbra Streisand across the aisle. And I barely had time to sit down in my seat, adjust my boobs in my leather bustier, and I heard my name called, in the nominations, because they always announce the supporting actresses first. Which is great. And they called my name, and I went up there and I got an Emmy, and then I was like, holy cow, it was one of those lovely moments.
Yeah, I'd say.
I guess mine is more related to the comic book genre. So it was more like definitely the Halloween costumes was definitely like what the heck is going on here? That moment. And then lately, it's been two of them. So it's one character I played and then another at the same time, which has sort of bugged me out in a great way. It's like, that's awesome.
You've been on cushions, I believe, right?
Oh, Christ, yeah. Entertainment Weekly do a cushion, right? They do a cushion. And if you're on the cover, then you're on a cushion. And quite early on, my mum came with me to like a junket. thing. And she saw the cushion, she flipped out over the cushion. So I was like, okay, cool, like, keep me cool, Mum, it's just a cushion. And then I was doing Star Wars and she came to visit me when I was getting cyber scanned for the dolls and all that stuff. So she's with the marketing people who make all of the merchandise and literally was just like, can I get like, what else can I get with my daughter's face on it? What else can you make up for me? And the guy was obviously being really incredibly polite and, of course, whatever you wanted to do. And I was like, dear God, please don't send her anything. And then one day I get back from being away for a while, and my mum has made up the spare room with blankets and cushions and like, this isn't for sale. Like, I sincerely doubt this is for sale. Anyway, they made it specifically for my mum. Just the huge amount of stuff with my face on. Yeah.
I'm hoping there aren't pillows and blankets in other people's houses with your face on it, but who knows?
Who knows? But in my house, they're in the attic.
How would you guys describe the sort of current phase of your career vis-a-vis the roles that are coming in? I mean, I feel like I could do this for you. Feels like the year of the complicated, I think you've called them monster women. But how would you sort of describe what's coming your way now, what that phase looks like?
I feel like it's a very exciting phase for me, and I didn't see that coming because I had always seen that women were sort of retired by the business at a certain point and, didn't have much work. And I think I happened to be coming to this age at a time where all these networks, we had like 500 networks, and then there was 500 channels, but nothing was really on. They were just all recycling the same stuff. And I kept thinking, there's going to be a lot of work for actors at some point. There's got to be, or people are going to shut off their cable. And now all these networks are making content, and I'm so happy and lucky to be coming to this age at a time where people are wanting to produce more material.
Danai, are you in the huge franchise portion? I mean, these are not indie projects that you're working on.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying earlier to you, this is not how I ever imagined how my life work would go, as I used to pretentiously call it.
What did you think the lane was going to be, and how would you describe the lane you're currently in?
Well, because I'm a playwright, so I really just expected to stay like in indie play world, you know what I mean, and step into this area in very specific ways. I never expected, things like Walking Dead or Marvel. I just never imagined it. So it's kind of, I sort of am catching up to that in a little way, but I at the same time, there is approaches that involve that type of stuff that happen now. But I think the beauty of it is I just love to tell, the idea of all the opportunities that are now out there for so many different sort of stories to be told. And sort of the thing on my heart is to get different stories told from various perspectives that I haven't seen in certain mediums yet, like on our network television yet, or places like that. And that's kind of that idea, that thing that drives me a lot, as a writer as well, is getting those sort of stories, perspectives we rarely heard from. We still got a ways to go. We got some work to do.
We have a long way to go. And also, I almost never see projects with the elderly. No. Great actors, great directors. They really, even just the stories, what's going on, it's like a world we almost never ever see. That's very true. I think there's a lot of stories to be told, and I feel like the lack of diversity in all these stories has really harmed this form of art, because it's...
And it shouldn't be just people who are losing their mind or movies about people with Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
I mean, I can speak to that. I'm in I just finished my 10th year of playing the same character of Diane Lockhart, and for 7 years I was number 2, the supporting actress on The Good Wife, and I loved my role, and I thought it was, great. She was the head of the law firm and the authority figure, and she was strong and dignified and well-dressed, and I loved that role. But she's, with the spin-off that was created 3 years ago, she's now number 1. And, honestly, I got the number 1 position finally in my career, and I was in my 60s. So it's like, all right, I like to think, I like to say that there is movement forward. And, these are the best years of my career. I get offered wonderful theater roles. I'm finally a leading lady after all this time. I was always, sitting waiting. The Best Supporting Actress award goes to somebody else. But, it was always a supporting actress. And I'm the leading lady in a show I'm still this strong, authoritative, professional woman, well-educated. We're seeing women like that in our culture who are now running for president and running the House of Representatives. Thank you very much. Doing very well. Women this age are powerful. And I love that somehow in this moment in time, I'm playing in a TV show that reflects that. And it's high time that, women of such authority and have their real airtime. It's long overdue.
Do you guys feel like there's a certain type of character or role that are coming your way now?
I probably have to say for me, it would be things that lend themselves to this category, the dramatic category. Because I spent the majority of my career in comedy. And that was the whole bit. You're funny. That's what we know you as, and that's where you shall remain. And it took me many, many years to get someone to give me a chance. And then things started to change because of it. Now, don't get me wrong. I love, love, love to make people laugh, and I think it's a gift. But there is something I feel blessed to be able to use a different part of my instrument. Because the other part, I wake up funny. You know what I mean? So I'm so used to being funny that when I get to be anything else, I'm like, ooh. And it blesses my soul.
I have heard you say that you had, that you were sort of told, you have a lane, you're funny, and that you sort of set a meeting to sort of reintroduce yourself. What did that look like? How receptive were people to that reintroduction?
Well, the interesting thing about it is, everybody has a team. We have people. And in those people, I kept trying to, let me talk to this one, because maybe you can, let me ask you, what you think? And then finally, I was like, nobody is hearing me. So I just called a team meeting and got everybody together. And they were like, well, what's happening? Why are we here? What's going on? And I said, I just wanted to reintroduce myself to you because in the years that we've been together, Mother has changed. Things are different. You know what I mean? I don't want today what I wanted back then. Back then, I was just hungry.
Right.
I wanted to eat. You know what I mean? And now the refrigerator is full. Now we can do some other things. So I just wanted them to see me like I saw me. And so that we can go on the path together and not have it feel, like we were disconnected.
Can anyone else relate to that? And having those sort of conversations of, I'd like you to see me in a different way.
Yeah. Well, because I was stupidly lucky at a very young age, and fell into something that has just been miraculous on every level. Tiny. And in the beginning, I was just like, I'm employed. Yeah, I'm hungry. I need to put some food in the fridge. And it happened to be incredibly. It was brilliant. It's been amazing. But it's 10 years on one show. And when I started, I was a baby. I was an absolute child who didn't know what IMDb was. You know what I mean? And so throughout this time, I don't have the guts to be like, yo guys, this is the new me. I have something to say and it's not what I said before. But in the beginning, it was like, hey, do you want to do this really, really big movie? And you're like, yeah, of course I do. Like, you kidding? Yeah, this is... And then you do lots and lots of them and you start to see that you haven't, not at any point, at no point you've kind of gone in and gone, no, this is my voice. This is what it sounds like. I didn't know what my voice was because I was so young and I just wanted to do all of the fabulous things that everyone paints to be like Hollywood perfect. And then suddenly you're like, no, I went to drama school. I care about art. I care about telling the right stories. I care about working with auteurs. I care about inhabiting characters that have something to say. And it takes a minute for the people around you to go, oh, right. Oh, sorry. I thought you just wanted to eat.
I did feel like I also encountered a little pushback. I was lucky enough to have success when I was young, and a lot of that was the boy and girl story and being an ingenue.
Yeah.
And then as I was getting older, there was still, this kind of pressure to look a certain way. I had an argument with one of the producers on Medium he told me I should lose weight, and I was like, no, this lady's a mother, she's married, she's got 3 kids. No. So, but still that kind of expectation of being beautiful, of looking a certain way, and then okay, you could be 40, but you gotta look like a great 40. You gotta look like 40 who looks 30. You know, that kind of a thing. So when I was starting to work on Escape at Dannemora, and then again with the act, I definitely felt some pushback and had some conversations about taking that chance and looking a certain way that I wouldn't work anymore. You know, that I would lose work. Because really, and in fairness, they'll have those conversations. What does she look like now? Why don't you send us a picture of what she looks like right now? And I said, you know what? I've had a good run as an ingenue, all these different things, but it's also always been a little bit of a box. I always wanted to be an actor, and I never got to really do character work. And you know what? I want to really go for this and really explore this thing because I feel like it's free. And I trust myself as an artist. I've earned my own trust within myself to say, that's the path I want to go on.
And see, you know what the trick bag is about that? Is that when we enter on a set, the very first thing that they do is they put us in hair and makeup and we walk out of there looking like angels are dancing on our face. And so the minute that you have to interpret a character, because this happened to me when I did Getting On, which was where I got my first Emmy nomination, and they took everything off. They wouldn't even let me wear a spank, girl. I said, this is what kind of evil is this? They took everything. And then they put me under the worst lighting God has ever created and said, now act. And I said, oh, what's happening? But I will tell you that it was so freeing for me. And I leaned so much on just trusting my gift and the pretentiousness and the part that I had learned early on in the career that you gotta strap it down and hose it back and do all the things. I was able to divorce myself from that. And honestly, the worse I looked on camera, these are the jobs that people show up for and be like, we see what you're doing over there, girl.
Yeah.
You know?
Because they see through it. They see through the powdered beauty and the kind of, because it can be distracting, and then you get to actually show humanity in a part and a character.
Are there roles and ways that you guys are still hoping to be seen? Or are there sort of dream roles that are not coming your way?
Buddy cop. Let's do the buddy cop.
You want I like it.
No, well, I'm just kidding, but I'm like, sort of, yeah. I mean, just like something goofy. I think I've been doing a lot of like, well, my characters have been very quote unquote strong.
Yes.
And that can have its own trapdom, you know what I mean? Though thankfully I've had a really, like, especially lately with like Okoye, for instance, or whatever in the Marvel movies, that she's got a lot of different things. She's very humorous and she's got a lot of heart. So and so does Michonne, but it's just like, but you know, I just got to expand more of the spectrum with her. But the idea of like, say, putting away strong altogether, like I have no strength. Let's start from there.
Yep.
Yeah.
That would be interesting for me.
Sure.
Yeah, that would be really good.
What about you guys?
Michelle and I I was saying to Michelle, what a brilliant job she did as Gwen Verdon, and like, what was the preparation? And we were both talking about how liberating it is to sing and dance, and there's never enough time to learn it, but when you get into it, it's such a wonderful frontier. I can't announce what I'm doing next because they haven't formally announced it, but I am singing any chance I get because I'm preparing for a role that involves singing, and it's
So we're going to karaoke after this?
We're gonna do it. It's so liberating in a terrifying, wonderful way.
But this release.
It is, isn't it?
There's joy there.
Yeah.
There's joy. Like you return to some sort of childhood state. Like you lose your self-consciousness because you can't really, that part of your brain, it can't be accessed while you're singing and you're dancing because your sort of logic is turned off because you're remembering things and you're doing steps and your body is involved and like your diaphragm is involved. And so it's this kind of, it runs through your entire system. Yeah. And I found it when I did, when I did Marilyn, I started dancing a little bit. And then when I did Cabaret for a year, I was singing and dancing. And as difficult as those things were, I noticed that there was something inside of them, this joy. And I just thought, well, whatever, I want to get back to that. Like that's a place that I really want to live more often. And because of living in New York and because of having access to this theater community, I've just made that a part of my life. And it's something that I'm always kind of looking to do. And so when she came up, when Gwen came up, I was like, oh, perfect. That's,
my God, yeah.
That's the, that'll like cover everything that I'm really interested in doing right now. That'll check all my boxes.
Sure. You guys are at points in your careers where you can afford to be picky. You afford to say, no, don't want to do that. What are the examples for you guys of things that you're like, I'm just not going to do that?
Don't want to play a cranky old lady, don't want to play a bitch. Just to, or a powerful woman who, because she's powerful, is a bitch. All the stereotypes about older women. No.
Not going to do it.
No.
I don't want to travel for work. I've somehow managed to work out of New York for the last 7 years. My daughter stayed in the same school and the same friends, and that's like a super high priority to me. I really want to be able to find things that I love to do and stay at home.
I'm at a place in this moment where I don't want to be a sassy black anything. I don't want to be a sassy black mama. I don't want to be a sassy black neighbor. I don't want to be a sassy black friend. There's so many more notes to be played. Broken is a delicious note to play on camera. The mother that I play in When They See Us is just white knuckling it and doing the best she can. And I know when I had my first baby, they give me this kid, and I literally was like, they gonna let me leave with this little thing? And I was inching towards the door like, I'm leaving. And I was like, ma'am.
Waiting.
But as a mother, we are so, that's when you realize how imperfect you are.
Sure.
You have this idea, I'm gonna show up to the thing and and it all falls apart. And surviving and thriving and still trying to create a life that is good for this other human being you brought into the world, but you're a victim of your own pain. You're a victim of your own experience. Just because you had a baby doesn't erase all of those things. So leaning into this woman that I played here, she wasn't a sassy anything. And it was absolutely delicious to find her pain and her brokenness. In some places it overlapped mine. You know what I mean? And that's when you get in that scene, and y'all have experienced it, where when them tears start flowing and they ain't because of the script, and you're like, do you need some menthol? No!
I've been really, really lucky with playing Daenerys, that every single season she's different. Every single season she grows and she changes and evolves and gets stronger and more powerful. But also the thing that I've enjoyed the most is the fragility. So when looking at like what do I not want to do, it's I've been so insanely lucky with this woman who is evolving and changing, and it's very much this season. And so I've got to kind of inhabit so many different spaces with her. So from a character point of view, there's nothing in my mind that I would not want to venture into, because I just want to try everything now that the show is done. I want to kind of see what I'm going to be, what I'm going to do, I don't know what I want to do. The one thing I do sort of know is that I would like to do, I would not like to do something that would have like a sequel. You know what I mean? Something that could have like, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then like, I'd like to not do one of those for a minute.
But that is what a lot of these franchise movies are.
That would be really good.
You're signing on to potentially committing to the next 7 years of your life.
Exactly, and to do something that has been made before. I mean, literally has been made before. Not like a character that we've seen a bunch, but like an actual thing that has been made already. And then I just do it again, badly.
One of the things
not into it.
You sort of famously did not want to do was...
Oh, God, I know. No such thing as off the record.
No.
Literally, that bloody article, oh my God. Someone was like, it's fine. What is it? Did you turn down anything really juicy? And I was like, this conversation's been going on for 2.5 hours. Okay, fine, yeah, I turned down.
50 Shades of Grey. But I'm curious, in that, I mean, how much of that was the sort of idea of being pigeonholed?
The last time that I was naked on camera on the show was a long time ago, and yet it is the only question that I ever get asked, because I am a woman, and it is annoying as hell, and I'm sick and tired of it. Because I did it for the character. I didn't do it for titillation. I didn't do it so some guy could check out my tits, for God's sake. So that coming up, I was like, I can't. So me saying yes to that, I was just like, no way. Am I gonna voluntarily walk into that situation and then never be able to look someone in the eye and be like, no, you can't keep asking me this question.
Right.
Because that would be the question that they would then ask. Because you're signing up for it.
You guys are all looking. Can you relate to this?
I can. And I had a situation that was a little bit of the reverse, in that I had to do a scene, and I mean, and it was only like partial things that kind of had to show. And my thing was, I'm not a size 2, you know what I mean? And I was taking one. I was like, I'm gonna go for it. For the thick girl out there that needs to see herself represented, having sex on her own accord, and owning her own body, and not she's just showing up for the pleasure of a man. I was like, oh Lord, let me take a water pill. Let me think then. And let me get out here. And then after I go through all the amalgamations and the people are in there and it's the boom, it's the mic, and are my kibbles and bits covered and wait and what's happening, then I see the edit and they just completely took it out. And I was like, not so much from a vanity sake, but just my emotional peace of mind. Why you make me go through all of that?
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, and
scary.
trying to steel myself. You know what I mean? And then to not use it. Like, we just decided that we thought, it would be better if. And I was like, guys, and I just feel like I'm to the point in my life now where if I do it, you better put it on there.
That's right.
Why did I eat grapefruit for a week?
Right, exactly.
I've just been like, in my experiences have been like, the idea, like for me, it has to be very, and luckily I started, like when I started to do TV, I was like 30s, right? So it was a while, so I got kind of stuck in my ways in a sense.
You had the confidence.
I don't know that, but all I know is I had to know I could wake up in the morning and feel good about what I'd done the day before. That's the thing I would always think about. So I would remember having an argument with the director because I was like, I know you have it written here like this, but this is what you're getting. And I wrote it on the script and I handed it to him. I said, you're not getting that and you're not getting that. Those are mine.
Sexual pieces, or
that's what you
is
have
that
to
what
do.
you mean?
Love scenes?
It was a love scene. It was a love scene. And I was like, these parts aren't being seen. And he was like, yeah. I was like, no, I'm not serious. It's really not happening. And I had to really get him there because he had to adjust his mind around it. And he's an awesome guy, but he had to adjust his mind around the fact that this was where I was going. And I realized this is what we have to do as women. We actually have to like get the minds of folks there sometimes, that it's not, I know what your vision is, but I will tell the story for her without that happening.
There you go. Is it that like they pull it down, keep pulling it up? They pull it down, keep pulling it up. I'm like, and roll.
I've done all types of tricks. Like I did a thing where I had I had like your skin color things on my breast.
Right.
I've done that before.
Green ones.
Exactly.
Just stuff like that.
Where you're like, that's a top. I'm wearing a bandeau top.
Exactly. I put like 17 of them on.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's like there's just nothing to use.
Safety precautions.
So Christine, when you were filming the Good Fight pilot, Hillary was assumed, I think, for most people on your set, she was going to be president.
Well, it was sort of in the plot because
yes.
one of the first scenes was me in the boardroom in a fabulous suit saying, there are no more glass ceilings to break and I'm retiring, gentlemen. And the pilot was supposed to be about how I lost all my money, and that was the dramatic thrust of where they took the character. But then when we were filming the pilot, it was election night. And the camera was turning around on my close-ups when I checked the phone to find out who was the assumed winner of the election. So we changed the pilot considerably.
And you lose that line. That
you
line
lose the line about the glass ceiling, and then
ceiling.
the very first scene of the pilot is my looking at the television set like this as I'm watching the inauguration of Donald Trump.
And it's the actual, in real time.
Yeah, and what's amazing
How
is...
does that inform, how does that inform where you go? How does it inform where the show goes? And you terrified in that moment, both as a human and as a performer?
Well, it was really serendipitous because for 7 years on The Good Wife, as I've said, Diane Lockhart was always a liberal, Emily's List carrying card member, feminist. She was written that way, and she was written with a certain moral authority and passion for breaking the glass ceiling. And in my office, there was always a picture of Hillary Clinton and it was photoshopped, obviously, but from the time of the pilot,
Wow, okay.
So when we filmed one of the scenes in the pilot that you know, we were still, it was before election night, I was packing the picture of Hillary Clinton and I in a box. And I remember saying to my director, well, you know, this woman is going to be the president, so maybe Diane is looking at that picture thinking if she can do it, I can do it. And then a few days later, we were, you know, facing a new reality. But what was amazing is that because of we took the character into a spin-off situation, but this was before Donald Trump had been elected, but it's provided fertile ground for a woman who is a, you know, passionate liberal feminist of a certain age, who was a Hillary supporter, to be the leading lady in a show where now she's a Trump resistor. And it's very much, you know, the story is very much predicated, and her story is a lot about her inability to process what's going on in the country and what's happening to women, and are we going backwards? So it's provided a lot of dramatic raw material. Where did the real guys go? Why do we now have these snide little creatures with slick back hair and cologne? What happened to Paul Newman and Burt Lancaster? What happened to men who were slow to anger and responsible and who didn't cry like whiny little bitches? When did Trump and Kavanaugh become our idea of an aggrieved man? Quivering lips, blaming everyone but themselves.
But I am curious, I mean, I think you've talked about, certainly, I think on both of your most recent projects, about sort of how they call, you know, you finish at the end of the day, and yet you have to sort of take these projects home with you and these characters home with you. I mean, you were living in the belly of the beast on this show.
Yeah,
so there isn't that sort of release at the end of the day.
Cable news is like research for me. I have to keep my sense of outrage, which isn't hard. It's not difficult for me.
But is there a release, and what does it look like
It's
for
called
you?
a vacation, and in 2 weeks I'm taking it, and I'm turning the phone off, and I'm not looking at the news. But that happened last year as well. You get, but I think people are collectively feeling this, not just actors. I just happen to be in a show where we really are dealing with, they're fictional characters, but we are living in the moment, in this historical, cultural moment. Yeah. So yeah, it can be a little, get me out of this, get me out of here.
Yeah. So with Escape at Dannemora, you shot in a prison. You were there, surrounded by people who were living this life. How did that sort of inform you? How scary was that?
It was very intense to feel the energy and see all the dynamics. I mean, even briefly at these prisons, because we shot at 5 different prisons.
So what happens at the end of the day when you're driving back to wherever you're staying?
Well, and also shooting up north, it was very cold. It's like winter, it's a gray town. The middle of the town is the prison, this huge wall. And there's a depressing quality. There's a tension going on everywhere, I think. And then gaining weight for that part and wanting her to look a certain way and feeling that was the right choice for me to make. But then going into the world and having people's reaction, it's like a scientific experiment. People would look at you like, oh, I used to love you. Yeah, are you still acting?
Oh my gosh.
Or people just wouldn't really even, but more than that, the way people perceived me was as an invisible person. Like, oh, you're just kind of a matronly, dumpy, middle-aged lady, so you just don't exist.
Yeah, but better for you if they die. What does that mean? Wouldn't it be convenient to be the only person who lives to tell the story? Am I wrong?
Well, yeah, you're wrong. What does that mean?
I'm uptight. I'm not comfortable. I take baths in the dark. I've always been modest since I was a little girl, changed behind a chair. But I really wanted to do these love scenes. Like, I'm gonna gain a bunch of weight, and my boobs are gonna be giant, and my stomach, and no, I'm not. Actually, this is the first love scene. I'm not wearing any body makeup. I don't care that you have real sunlight and it's high def or whatever, this is all a nightmare, but not really, because I really want to say, who's allowed to be sexual now in this culture? When are women allowed to be sexual? What body type do we have to have? And this lady is more comfortable with her sexuality than I am. And what does it feel like to be in a character that is willing to embrace that?
I was gonna say, when you talked about taking things home, I did the story of the Central Park Five, and the new title is called When They See Us. And this is the first time I've ever done a project where they provided crisis counselors.
Wow.
After the end of the day, if there was a number you could call and somebody could talk to you, because the material was so heavy. And there were often times that the real boys, if you guys don't know about it, they had been accused of raping a woman in Central Park, but they were all babies and none of them did it, and they got convicted for something that they did not do, and it's their story. But there will be times sometimes when the real men now would be on set. So to come and meet you or talk to you or or just be there, because it's their story being told. So you have that, and you have the weighty material, and going home at the end of the day, listen, seeing these children being dragged out this courtroom, and as a mother feeling so powerless, I would get off that set and be like, I'm not gonna make it. Bring the funny back, because I felt so full at the end of the day, but you feel so driven to tell the story, and you just get back up and you figure it out and you muscle through it, because that has to be more important than how you feel.
I'm sorry to ask, but can you put a little something extra on my commissary account? Mama, not much, a little bit helps. 10, 20, just to add to my books.
Boy, I ain't got nothing to give you. I ain't got it. But I will work on it.
I think, Michelle, with Fosse Vernon, I think one of the things that's sort of come up is that we're all so aware of Bob Fosse and his story. And I think we weren't as aware of Gwen's story. And I think that over the course of the creation of this show, her role became, I believe, a bigger piece of it, and a story that was worth telling. Why do you think it's the case that we know the man's story? What does that say about our culture? And how important was it to explore both stories?
Well, I think when the project was initially developed, it was just called Fosse, and that was about 2 years ago. And I think about, a year into developing it or something, they realized that they actually wanted to tell both of their stories, which was after meeting their daughter, Nicole Fosse, who said that she would be involved in it, but she gave them so much information about who Gwen was that they said, oh, we should make this about two people instead. But I think it's a lot of what we're talking about. Gwen aged out because she was primarily a dancer. They say like a dancer dies 2 deaths, when you actually die, and then the day that you can't dance in the way that you used to be able to dance. And so she had that creative death. And so her story it goes more quietly. And if you know people if you're lucky enough to talk to people who knew her, of course it didn't. She continued to live a very full life, and she taught, and she choreographed, and she recreated his work, and she restaged his work. But in this creative burst that they were living in while she was still an active dancer and actress, she was sort of written out of the story. And the show attempts to rectify that.
Kids in the jungle are being zipped into body bags on the evening news. Richard Nixon is our president, God help us. People aren't going to the movies to escape anymore. They're going to find something true.
Well, I wish you'd been here from the start. He needs you.
I just know how to speak Bob. It's my native tongue.
You became a sort of a face of a movement, and your experience on All the Money in the World became an experience. I mean, it wasn't just your story anymore. It became the world's story, and you became someone that Hollywood was outraged on your behalf. What did it feel like to be in the middle of that?
It was interesting. So I went to DC recently to speak on pay equality, and it all happened very quickly. I'd become friends with, when we went to the Golden Globes and we took these activists as our dates, we all became friendly, and we all just sort of stayed in touch. And one of them reached out to me and she said, hey, like, are you available in 3 days to come down and do this thing? And I said, like, for you, yes, I'll get rid of everything else I was supposed to do, and I'll come. What is it? Like, what's going on? What am I doing? And she's like, just write a quick thing, and you're just going to say a quick thing, and then you'll go. And so I was like, okay, sure.
Famous last words,
Yeah, and it was a much bigger sort of platform than I had even realized. And something that was interesting that was said to me there was that they were so grateful for me coming to tell this story, because it's hard to see when you're talking about sort of $10 versus $14. People have a hard time hearing the difference, but when you use an example as extreme as mine, it sort of really brings the entire case to come home to rest. You can really, the larger example, like, can speak to the other example. And I'm so moved, personally and professionally, to have found my place in the conversation and my voice through the conversation, and to feel like I've grown up inside of the conversation. And it's the thing that I'll, feel the closest to more than any work that I've ever done. Being able to, if I can just incrementally move the needle for other women, it's the thing.
Sure. Have you seen the response to you change in the process as you take new jobs, as you walk into rooms?
I don't know if everybody feels like this, but I just feel like the dynamic on sets has changed. I don't know if you guys experience the same thing.
In
but
what way?
I feel like the workplace, I've said before, but they don't hug you anymore.
Morning!
Yeah, you don't get a morning grope. You get like a morning handshake. That's been my experience recently. And I just feel like more space has opened up in the room, like in the actual creative process, when you're sort of in the figuring out of things. I feel like I'm heard in a different way. Not even heard in a different way, that the space has opened up for me, but to be able to be heard.
Nobody will be surprised if a woman speaks out now on certain things. Or says, yeah, and that has changed, yeah. It's a corrective moment in the culture, there's no question. And
sure.
Certainly in our industry.
I'm definitely seeing also a lot more women on the set.
Oh, yeah.
I see
Definitely.
women boom operators and DPs, and I'm seeing, I'm working with a lot more women directors. And I think that space has given me a little more strength as an actor in myself. There will be times where creatively, I really disagree with someone's choice for the first time in my life. And I'm not saying young actors should do this, because you can learn a lot by trying to step outside your comfort zone. But I said to somebody, I'm not doing it like that. And because of this and this and this and this, and I had tons of reasons, and the scene before and the scene after and this is the choice that I made. It's a conscious choice. Don't want to hear, we'll shoot it both ways. Don't worry, we'll see.
Yeah, you know what that means.
You know what that means.
You get your take, but I'm doing my take.
It's so important, because like we're in a society so often as women in every field, I imagine, that, the idea of pleasing or being, amenable and doing what you're told in a sense and getting along is so paramount. And so that breaking that down and being like, we're going to collaborate here. This is going to be about the fact that I'm here as a whole artist and we're collaborating. I'm not just obeying, but I mean, I collaborate. I don't not listen, but sometimes there are things that are very clear to me and I want that respected. I think that's the place that we're going.
When I first started acting, I got my first big break, and it turned out I was pregnant. And in that project, I was supposed to get gang raped. And I was like, you know what? Even though the producers were cool and like, we don't think you'll be showing that much and it'll be all right. I was like, I've never had a baby before, and I don't know how heavy that's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't want to worry about throwing up or keeping you guys waiting, and I don't want to worry about gaining weight or not. So I kind of walked away from like my big star chance, and I didn't know if I'd ever really have another one. And after I had my son, I wasn't getting any work acting. And so I got a job waitressing. I was supposed to start in a few days. I told my agent, hey, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this thing anymore. I need a full-time job. I have a baby at home, 20 years old. I need to take care of my kid. And, maybe that train has left the station, but I'm not looking back. But I got a job the night before I was supposed to start waitressing. So I was like, thank you, but I got a job. They were like, yay, because they're all actors too, right? All the other waiters, so they said thank you. But I was supposed to do this movie, and there was a love scene, and the concept was, well, the whole really plot was, this guy was videotaping women he was having sex with, and it was a hidden camera, right? So, yay, I'm so happy. I'm a single mom, I'm broke, I don't know where I'm gonna buy diapers, and now I've got an acting job again. And so I have this conversation with the director, like, what do you wanna see or not see, or what do you mean? I mean, how do you envision this scene? And, you know, do you want to see breasts? Do you want to see, you know, what are you? I don't want to decide. I want to be free. I want you to sign a piece of paper saying, you'll do whatever I want. And now I was breastfeeding and I felt really vulnerable and I was so broke. And I had to say, you know what? I have to walk away from this job. And it
did
sucks.
you?
Yeah,
You did.
this is the second time I'm having to kind of make a really important moral decision. And, you know, and dude, I'm like a broke single mom with a tiny baby at home.
That's so powerful.
And you as a director can't make a decision, you know?
The power of the word no. I mean, I think it really defines a path in a sense, because you're really creating, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is what I don't do, and I'm okay with that. And if you're not, that's okay. You know, and it's such a powerful, to be able to stand in your no. I think it's the most defining thing you can do.
It's the most powerful word in this business because you show up to it so young and you want to say yes to everything. What, you want me to do jumping jack? I got it. Yes, I can do yes. You're saying yes to everything. And the minute you realize that and you tell somebody in a position of authority, no, they're taken aback because all they get is yeses, you know, all day.
I'm going to take a little bit of a left turn, but I want to touch on some of the shows that you're a part of. You're on these shows where every episode could be your last. I don't know how much you know. How many questions do you ask?
As in, if we're going to live another
Live and
episode.
die, yeah.
I mean, on the show, you have the phone call.
Yep. And are you just sitting there waiting for the phone call for the last 10 years?
No, it sort of depends. Like in the early days, we were kind of like, oh, okay, this is like a theme. He's killing everyone. We're like, again, like guaranteeing our mortgages. So let's just get that straight. No, so you get a phone call from David and Dan, who are the creators of the show, and everyone starts to really dread that phone call because if you're like, oh my God, they want to take me out for dinner. They want to take me out for dinner, and so then you know that's the kiss of death, literally.
So nobody wants to go to dinner with them.
No,
or
literally.
Hear from them.
But then every time they ask you out for dinner, they're like, "We're not trying to kill you. We just want to get dinner. We just want to like talk about.
Just like you.
We just want to talk about what you're." But for me, on a very real level, because I started so green and was so incredibly grateful to be employed. I just assumed that every, imposter syndrome times a million. Like I just assumed that every time I was going to read the script that I was going to be written off because I was just crap. And that they had enough. And that this time was the last time. So I was every single season and genuinely until like the last season where you're like, oh, wow.
Still here.
I did the whole, that's good. Oh, nice.
Do you ask questions? Do you ask where it's going and how much are you then told?
They really don't give anything away.
Does that help you?
So yeah, I don't like to live season, in anything other than the season that I'm in, because with Daenerys, she really has evolved so much and she's grown so much. And every season there's something new that happens. So it does feel like a new character. I'm very, very, very lucky in that sense to have lived with the character for 10 years, but we've grown together. So I have to just deal with what I'm dealing with in the moment.
You are my queen. I don't know what else I can say.
You can say nothing to anyone ever. Never tell them who you really are. Swear your brother and Samuel Tarly to secrecy and tell no one else. Or it will take on a life of its own and you won't be able to control it or what it does to people. No matter how many times you bend the knee. No matter what you swear.
I think they very quickly started to write for each individual actor. But with me, I think they definitely, you start to see in the stage directions, like they're complete goofballs. So most of the stage directions are like ridiculous and very funny and like mention really rude things that I can't say.
Daenerys farts.
John looks up. Just like a lot of like in jokes about like, and then Jon Snow's hair glistens in the sun, like we know it will, like the Pantene advert that it should be, like all that kind of nonsense. But yeah, so they started writing for us very much, and I think they knew that whatever kind of stoic sort of cold sensibilities they might be writing down, that I was going to try and bring a bit more warmth and a bit more kind of humanity to her where I possibly could. And that was always a conversation we were always having. And every season I would go off and do something else on hiatus, come back and be like, what's up? Yeah, she's gonna sit like this. This is how she's gonna, and every time they're like, that's really cute, but sit up straight and don't smile. And you're not funny. And let's do this. And so you have to keep kind of bringing it back into like the parameters that I myself set up.
Sure.
But just set up real young. So yeah, perfect posture being one of them. Which can be really annoying.
And you obviously, you have the comic books, so there is source material there. But I am curious, what kinds of questions are you asking? And how is it informing you?
Oh, I'm a pain in the ass. I'm a total pain in the ass.
What does that mean?
Well, because I mean, I'm all up in it. Like, you know, I'm the one who, like, when I really want to know or I really want to collaborate, I really want to think about something with them, I have the conversation. We get on the phone, I chat it out. I'm like, so I think it's trying to do this, but what about, you know what I mean? I'm not pushing the whole story to another place, but I'm trying to, in my head, in my pretentious mind, I'm trying to help them accomplish what they're proposing.
How much of that is you are a playwright, you are somebody who is used to also being the person who's crafting the story.
Right, and they're so awesome. Like I've had such an amazing opportunity and experience working on this show for the last 7 years, and it really is family. And so the showrunners have been, I've worked with of course, Scott Gimple and now Angela Kang. And they're, you know, she was there also the entire time. Yep. And so they're family to me, you know, so I can really talk to them and really hash things out and give ideas and thoughts and not necessarily ideas so much.
I was about to say, yes.
Thoughts. I mean, ideas are theirs. And sometimes they're like, yeah, discuss that with the writer. Like, you know, there's, and I think as time goes on, as Emilia's saying, there's you get more and more able to do that. They understand you're living in her, she's living in you at this point. Mm-hmm. So we're totally, the collaboration becomes more and more full.
You're my mom. You chose to be. Because you love me and I love you.
I do.
And loving someone means doing whatever it takes to keep them safe, right? But when did we stop loving Carol? Aunt Maggie, Carol the King.
We didn't.
I'm curious, both of you have done huge franchises, film franchises and these huge television franchises. How do the fans differ? The experience and the relationship with fans, how does that differ?
Regardless of what movie I'm on, I only get asked about Game of Thrones.
Only.
Yeah, when you're on Star Wars and Star Wars are like, that's not okay. And I'm like, I'm not mentioning it. I didn't say anything about dragons. But yeah, it can be, Game of Thrones fans are very, it's a beast unto themselves, and I am indebted to them and bonded with them in a way that I will no other job I ever do will touch that.
Well, I don't know how you move on from
they're
that.
My people.
They're your people. I like that.
People.
What about your experience? I mean, you've got the Marvel audience, you got the Black Panther. I mean, all these different things.
Okoye is she's leveling with Michonne.
Yep.
I think it's definitely like, you know, things, you know, when you're asked to sign things, it's kind of
which one is it?
They're kind of I never know. It's kind of a 50-50.
That's a pretty cool place to
be. Sometimes one tops the other. You just I never know. It's unpredictable.
And you can't know who's coming and like, oh, I think you're gonna be
no. Sometimes they have both, you know? Like,
Cool. Emilia, you wrote recently a wildly powerful, devastating piece, an essay about sort of what you were going through that the world didn't know you were going through. I'm curious, what got you to the place where you said, I'm willing to share, I'm ready to share this with the world?
Yeah, like 2 weeks before I did, I was like, I'm not ready to share this with the world.
Why did you decide you were ready?
Because I've been working on a charity for about 5 years. So I basically with the first, so I had 2 brain hemorrhages. With the first one, it started off as like, I want to make a sofa for the family room, because every time my parents would come in from like chilling in the room, which obviously they ended up spending night and day in, they'd all come in like, oh, like they really hurt themselves, or they're like got a crick in their neck, and I'm like, we need to get a new sofa in there, we need to get a new couch in there. And it started as that, and then like, how can we build it, how can we build it? And then it became a kind of mission, and it just took me a really long time to narrow down my point of focus as to what I felt like I could do to help. Because surviving the first one, anyone who's survived anything that's where you should have died, you feel it's sort of responsibility, at least I do. And so in starting this, in building this charity that I've been building for a while, and in trying to figure out what it is, I went through a phase where I was having a tough time with doing lots of press, and I don't know if you guys have felt that at any point in your life where you just feel, I don't think I can be seen anymore. I'm drowning in this. I feel anxiety, and it's too much, and I can't handle it. And in that moment, I was like, I can't tell my story. And we were going to do this huge partnership with HBO. Richard Plepler, the dreamboat that he is, was going to do so much. It was going to be amazing. And then suddenly I was like, I can't. It's way too much. I can't. I'm not ready for that. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe in this environment when people are like, hey, talk about your tits. And you're like, no, I'm not going to give that to you, because this is my experience. And I want to help people. I don't want to make anything sensational. I don't want anyone to turn around and be like, oh, another celebrity sob story. Like, we care. And so I really wanted to keep the integrity of it. And then it took some time, and then we finished the show, and then all of these things happened. And then one day I woke up and was just like, I have to say this, because I can't help people if I don't. Like, oh, so you're starting a brain injury charity. Why? I don't know.
It just sounds like a good idea.
Felt like it seemed like an area that I just was intrigued.
How much of that experience sort of informed how you not only went through life, but also how you approached the character and the strength that it required? I mean, you talk about
I've
drinking
been lying
more
for a number of years. Every time anyone's like, where'd you get your strength from? I'm like, heavens, no idea, really idyllic childhood. So she and I grew together, but she absolutely, it's corny as hell, but she saved my life, because the main things that happen after you've had a brain injury, universally, obviously paralysis and all of that aside, is you have fatigue, which is, it sounds like a fancy way of saying you're tired, and it's not. It's debilitating to the point of it's just so demoralizing, especially as a young person, when you're like, what? Right. Why can I not get off the sofa? This is ridiculous. I feel lazy. I feel all these things. And so feeling that, and feeling, again, when you've had, especially with the second one, because the first one was non-invasive. So they went up through a major artery in my groin and went up through my brain and fixed it that way. But the second one, it went wrong in surgery. So they had to, it was preventative surgery that went wrong. So they had to crack my head open and do it that way. And when you have a brain trauma, you're just, like if you broke your leg, you're like, hey, watch the leg. It's broken. This is a fragile thing right here. When it's first of all, when it's just on a physical level, your skull, your face, I kept hitting my head, which is really annoying. But you get very and then as soon as you see that is something you want to be protecting, you can't look someone in the eye, because it's somehow it brings up shame. I don't know how, but it is such a, you just get so protective and so scared, and you think so little of yourself because you're constantly not wanting anyone to be anywhere near you. And that can be just, people who do not get the help and do not have the mother of dragons to walk, the shoes to walk into to kind of help you get out of it. Those are the people I speak to, that I'm speaking to the most with this charity for aftercare. But for me, I was able to then get up and the show must go on. And so you get back in those shoes. And then, Khaleesi's like killing all the masters. She's like speaking to 300 people in a language that is not real. She's, literally killing people with flames, having sex with Kit Harington, all sorts. And it just literally forced me awake again and forced me to look someone in the eye, because I had to.
I love that.
And that kind of,
that can be, sure.
Yeah, so that's kind of, it's been an unbelievable blessing in a really, really crazy way. I mean, I'm so lucky that I have all of my cognitive skills, and I've just missed, there's a bit of my brain that's died and we don't know what it is, and it's probably my taste in men.
I want to touch on the act really quickly. I believe I heard you say this is one where your children said, "Ooh, don't take this, don't take this role." Why and what made you say, I got to do this?
Well, it's based on this story of Dee Dee and Gypsy Blanchard, and Dee Dee has Munchausen by proxy, so she's having her daughter treated for all these medical conditions she doesn't have. So I told my kids, oh, you know, I might do this story. It's about Dee Dee and Gypsy Blanchard, and they'd both seen the documentary. No, don't do it. Mom, don't do it, please. I'm like, you guys know I'm an actor. I'm not the kind of person who comes home like, take your medicine. What are you guys thinking? They're like, it's just so scary. And it is. Because I think you give up a lot to give birth. Your teeth go, your eyes get worse, it's physically difficult, and nature's built it so that you would die for your child, and you would do anything to avoid their pain, and that's natural. And when a parent is the opposite, or would inflict pain on their child, it feels like such a perversion of our natural self.
Sure.
And that was weird. I mean, I was very clear with myself, like, you are leaving Dee Dee at work every day, like everything about her.
Girls wear makeup, Mom.
You're not like other girls. Oh, sweet pea, I know sometimes you want to be like everybody else. But you know what? I like you special.
We're going to end on some questions that I'm hoping everyone can answer, and we're going to move as quickly on this. But the first one is hoping you guys can complete this sentence. I act because... Why do you do this? What drives you to do this?
It just came to me early on. My grandmother and my grandparents were Polish actors in Buffalo at the Polish American Theater. So I grew up around flamboyant personalities and music and expressivity, and it seemed like a wonderful playground. And I still feel that way. I still feel that's where my playful self, my open self, because I think, I mean, like a lot of actors, I think I'm naturally shy, but I play characters that are not shy, and that's it's been very liberating. I've loved the journeys my characters have taken me on. I'd never be that woman. I never presume.
I'm shy too. Can y'all tell?
Yeah.
Look at us.
What about you?
Well, my siblings say, they're all older than me, that, you know, in the backyard where I grew up in Zimbabwe, I would walk around imitating Alexis Colby. So they said either she's crazy or she's an actor. Maybe both. So, but I think the interesting thing is, I'm actually at an interesting moment for that question, because I was just being asked that by some of my more acting bosses, because I'm creating a show right now, and I have a team of writers, and I step in this room, and I'm like, well, it's a miniseries, to be specific.
Still a show.
And yeah, mini show. But, and it's like, they're looking at me like, okay. You ain't never done this before. I'm like, no, but yeah, thankfully I have amazing mentors and teachers. I have a bat phone named Scott Gimple, and you know, and I've been wanting to do this for a long time. And so it's such an interesting moment, because I just got asked that, like, so which one do you like better? You know?
Do you have an answer?
You know, sometimes I don't, because as I was growing up in Zimbabwe, I was a part of like a storytelling type process where you just sort of created and you acted and you created and you acted, and they kind of went back and forth. You never they were never separate. So as I grew into the field, they separated. They had to.
Yeah.
But you know, they both complement each other in my head. Though I do look forward to rolling out of bed and putting on a skull cap and sitting on set with a big pair of things and just mumbling stuff in someone's ear and not going into hair and makeup. But I love to act.
You do.
For the record, I love to act. I love it. But I do look forward to the other side of it.
It's gonna be so delicious.
Oh, you're
I'm telling you.
All right, this is hopefully a fun one. The last time present company excluded, the last time I fangirled on somebody was...
Well, let me just say, I don't know how you can ever not fangirl over Oprah. I just don't know how you cannot.
I don't.
And I got a call from her office. I just recently got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And then, thank y'all.
Yeah.
And then she texted me after she saw When They See Us. And I was walking around all day with my phone. I'm just gonna reread that.
What does No Protect say?
Girl, bravo. With a whole bunch, Oprah used clapping emojis.
Of course she does.
She said, strip down realness, yes. And then the hand clap. I was like, come on, Auntie O.
That's awesome.
That's good. That's really
love
good.
What about you guys?
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Who's a producer on your show?
Yeah, which is uncomfortable for him. Because the first time I ever met, Hamilton's like a really big deal in our household, and we were seated across from each other at something, and when I saw it was him, I just screamed and I asked for pictures and like videos, and if he could like come over into like another area with me where it was quieter, and if he could like call, it just like came over me. I didn't know, it just was so, well, you can get something for like kids in your life. You're like, I'm sorry, but I lose like all decorum. Like, I need this for like this 12-year-old and this 12-year-old and this 12-year-old. So yeah, but I've settled. I've settled now.
I love it. Anyone else have one?
Oh, I had one just the other day. I did the Today Show, and I found out that Sting was in the green room. And he was going to be the next guest after me. And I turned into like a teenager. I mean, he's just so hot. And then I approached him in the green room I'm like, hi, my name is Christine. And I'm just such a fan. I felt so stupid, but it was real.
Brilliant.
It's wonderful when you kind of get
Absolutely.
to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you still get to be that sort of little girl inside.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sexy. Oh my God.
I recently met Glenn Close, and there were photographers present for all of my oh God, I don't know how to. Oh my God, I love her so much, and the wife like blew me away, and I just think she's magnificent. And then obviously in real life she was completely magnificent and just wonderful and brilliant, and yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Do you guys have one?
I would say, there have been so many lately, but I would say Cicely Tyson.
Oh my God.
Meeting her, I met her a few times now, but every single time it's
like drool coming out of your mouth, fumbling for
I'll let you know a
words.
little something. I have a condo in Atlanta, and the only thing on the wall is just a massive picture of her. It in black and white. It's just like when she was, she was like, maybe. She was middle-aged, and I think there's something so beautiful about that time. Like, it's like the idea that that's something we're supposed to be frightened of, or the longevity idea in this industry is so like, there is none for women, that idea that gets fed to us, and just looking at her every day, it reminds you that, my journey as an artist is long.
Love that. All right, the last one.
Love that. I have shivers from that. I did just go to Coachella. I took it as a mom.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, big for my daughter. I brought her. But I saw Charlotte Gainsbourg there. And then afterwards, I was watching this other band, and then she was standing in front of me. I love it. I just watched you. I was just at your show. Wow. So that was cool. But also what popped in my mind, there's been amazing actors and directors, but politicians. Maxine Waters. Hugging Maxine Waters was very exciting.
Sure.
To meet with Carolyn Maloney, Jackie Spears, powerful women who are doing things that I'm so grateful for. I mean, that really gets me excited.
It's a great way to end. Thank you guys all for being
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Haddish.
Hi, I'm Ben Stiller.
Hi, I'm Emilia Clarke.
I'm Henry Winkler.
And thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching the Hollywood Reporter Roundtable.
Hollywood Reporter Roundtables on YouTube.
On YouTube.
On YouTube.
Hi, everyone on YouTube.